All right, team 25.1 is here, and we've got a classic week one of the Open kind of setup. We've got 15 minutes of steady capacity style work, low skill. We've got a dumbbell, we've got burpees. Pretty typical kind of week one, and I think this is going to be a good test of just that raw capacity to start off. First thing I think about when I look at this workout, it needs to be just constant, steady movement and spreading that work evenly over a pace that allows you to keep doing that and keep sort of moving through the reps, whatever pace that is for you. Think about having no dead time. If you're moving at a pace that requires you to stop and have breaks, you need to try and slow down your cycle speed somewhere so that there's just that no dead time, constant movement. I think the rep scheme with the 3, 6, 9, 12, the quite small rounds at the start, that definitely tempts people into going a little bit faster than they probably should at the start. So generally speaking, just try and be a little bit more controlled through those early rounds where you get a feel for it before you settle into those heavier rounds, harder rounds, I should say. I think we saw in the live announcement, Krennikov going off at a significantly faster pace at the start than he ended up going later on. Whereas you looked at like Froning, for example, he was quite a lot more even throughout the workout, which I think is a good plan. It may take a bit of figuring out to feel where that is for you. So I'd probably recommend practicing, a few minutes of this workout initially to get a feel for it, what that might be. In terms of just like the overall like general feeling for the pace of the 15 minutes before I delve into the actual movements themselves, think about this one as like a bit of a traffic light system, if you can imagine that. We've got a 15-minute workout. Think of it as 3 5-minute thirds. So the first 5 minutes, the middle 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes. The RPE, like the feeling of exertion in each, should be a little bit like a traffic light. So green being the first 5 minutes, you should be feeling pretty steady, pretty good for the first 5. The middle 5, the pace you're going at should start having you feel like it's starting to hurt and get pretty uncomfortable in the middle, but definitely not like that top maximal red line state. And then we get into that last 5 minutes where it's really sort of uncomfortable, really hurting. You've just got to dig in, especially for those bigger sets, and then keep moving and push as fast as you can, trying to hold on to that pace you've been maintaining through the middle. So I think mentally, if you can just think about it like that, that green, orange, red, I think that's a good way to approach it mentally from an effort level as well. And just to break down the movements themselves a little bit, so we've got the burpees, the dumbbell hang clean to overheads, and the lunges. The burpees are going to have the biggest impact on the result in this workout. It's the one rep of a burpee requires you to bring your whole body weight down to the ground and then back up again and then jump, and that's a significantly large amount of work compared to like a dumbbell just going from hang to overhead. So because of that, that's going to have a massive impact on things. The lunges are a bit of a formality. They're not much of the total work, especially if you get a lot of rounds in. So with those burpees, with that in mind, you've got to pick a burpee cycle speed and a style of burpee that you can maintain throughout the whole 15 minutes. You need to be expecting that you're going to probably be doing, especially if you're at like advanced level, you might be getting up to like 150 burpees total in the workout. Certainly a lot of people are going to be getting over 100 burpees in the workout. So think about what your burpees would need to look like if you had to get through 100 reps. They might not be popping up off the floor quickly and staying low and jumping over the dumbbell really quick. They may be like stepping up off the ground, getting upright, jumping over. It just kind of depends on the individual and what their burpee capacity is. But yeah, and that might take a bit of playing around with in your warm-up, practicing a few rounds, a few minutes of the workout to figure that out. With the dumbbell movement, the hang clean to overhead, you've got the option of going alternating arms or holding on for one arm for a number of reps. You can change arms whenever, basically. So there's no requirement as to like what you need to do with how many on each arm. So there's a few different options here. So if you are to hold on with one arm for a number of reps, you probably will end up cycling that set a bit faster than if you were alternating. The downside is you may end up with a little bit more fatigue on one side going into the next set, and then you can end up with these like little bit of spikes and fatigue on one side. I don't think it's a huge issue, and I think for a lot of people it's easier and less thinking involved to do like one arm for like a bunch of reps and then switch the other arm maybe halfway through the round or on the next round. I think that makes things like easier mentally to sort of move through and less to think about, basically, which can be significant help, advantage. The downside of doing it with one arm is you may actually start cycling the dumbbell faster. It may not necessarily be a good thing for you. Depending on your fatigue levels and the work rate that you should be at in the workout, it might actually work against you to be cycling a little bit faster. You may be smarter to go alternating arms so that you can maybe stay a little bit more evenly distributed with your fatigue across the body and flow through them. So as the workout goes on later and later, you don't develop, a little bit more fatigue on one side or what have you. Or you might simply be able to keep the heart rate down a little bit more because you're not cycling them as quickly. It's a little bit slower. So I don't think it's a huge factor in this workout, but I think it's an oversimplification just to think about, okay, faster cycle speed is better because you may not want to go that fast. It may actually tip you over and make you go a bit too high on your heart rate. The other thing, just a couple of notes about the dumbbell, regarding the movement standards. The first rep you can just pick up as a power clean straight from the floor. You don't need to stand up to the hang and go into it. And then the other thing is when you start the workout, you've got to have your back to the dumbbell before 3, 2, 1, go. With the lunges, just looking at the number of steps, it's looking like probably it's going to be 5 steps for most people, so 5 out, 5 back. Tall people can do it in 4, so Krennikov doing some in 4, and he had to sort of extend his lunge out in order to do so, so he was maybe at that awkward length where 4 probably is the one to do, but you have to like stretch out a little bit more. So play around with that and know what that is before you start as well, so you get a feel for it. But the lunges are pretty much just a formality in this workout. They're not really going to be to like the hard part of the workout. I think it's a good opportunity to just try and mentally reset between rounds, try and get a little bit of recovery in, shake the arms out, get your breathing in a good pattern as you're doing those lunges. Those breaths that you take during those lunges, they're really valuable to get that oxygen back in. So be like quite deliberate with how you're breathing during that period, and just center yourself again. What else have I got here for my notes? So they're the main notes around the approach for the workout. For Star Strength Community, we are going to be adjusting the training notes on Train Heroic for Friday and Saturday so that if you're doing the workout either on Friday or Saturday, you've got some guidelines for how to do your training around that. But just real quick to give you a bit of an idea, if you're doing the open workout on Friday, you'll have a full day's training on Saturday to work through, and it'll be generally programmed to be stuff that shouldn't be too as taxed from the Friday workout, from the open workout. If you're doing the open workout on Saturday, we'll still be recommending doing some light training on Friday today to do a little mini practice of the workout and get a feel for your flow of it, and probably do some of the strength work at a reduced percentage that we've got on the program, if you're feeling like you'd like to do some of that as well. So there'll be some instructions on the app around that stuff. As always, we're keen to see the results coming through on the app from the open workout, so you'll be able to enter them in there on the app, and also commenting in the Facebook group and in Train Heroic about how it's going and what you learn from doing the workouts as you go through, so we can help each other get some good results. It's always good to see people's comments and stuff coming through after their workouts. So yes, keep your eye on the Facebook group and on Train Heroic for those changes shortly. What score are you going for? Oh, Kimbo, my videographer's asking me what score I'm going for. This workout, it's got a lot of burpees, so I like the look of it. It's 15 minutes, it's getting a bit long for me, so we'll see what I can maintain later. I haven't thought about my own score, but I'd like to get, at least 100 burpees in. I'm sort of thinking about that total number of burpees as like a bit of a benchmark, knowing that the top dogs get like a 150. So if I'm a full round behind them, that's doing pretty good, I reckon. We'll see how we go. What about you? Can we hear you on the mic? No comment? Okay, yeah, we'll see. We'll find out tomorrow. But that's it, guys. That's pretty much the sort of first thoughts, recommendations. As we see more intel and data coming through today and tomorrow, we'll be able to put some more tips up and advise you guys on how to approach it. Enjoy.